Welcome on back, everyone. We are now 20 days safe. At 180 days, we get a pizza party.
Milestone reached. The Xeno Basher is a direct upgrade from the Xeno Zapper. In the words of the engineer that first developed this tool, quote, "The Zapper kind of electrocutes things, the Basher straight up smacks stuff, while also electrocuting them," unquote. It is beneficial during encounters with aggressive fauna, and has been tested thoroughly. The engineer's noble sacrifice for Xeno research will not be forgotten, whoever they were.
Alright, let's try this bad boy out, or at least look at it. I'm pretty sure that animation worked properly with the Pioneer moving the little wrench dangly thing. But we're not going to do any combat today, so the main event is this building over here. Apologies for the horrible cut. I was actually building things in here, realized I did something wrong, went to trash the video, and then realized, oh, I recorded that whole bit with unlocking the Xeno Basher. Anyways, what we're doing today is taking advantage of all of the iron nodes located near the hub. So we got the two over here, and each one is pure, so that's 120 iron per minute. So we'll be using a lot of our Mark II belts here. But the goal of this factory is to have two assemblers for making modular frames, which, by the way, I needed to use to build the Basher, and I got those by exploring the crash site in the last video. That one just required power to open. And yeah, crash site's pretty good for finding advanced materials that can kind of give you a boost in unlocking or building certain things. Anyways, 2 modular frames, 3 will be for rotors, and then 5 will be for the reinforced plates. So this will be how I'll connect one of the miners. Each smelter can do 30, so 4 smelters for each one of those mining units. And let's just skip on ahead a bit. And now we need to build the 4 for the other set. But before I do that, I want to make sure I get my spacing correct. So let's drop down another floor hole and then another set of splitters. And going forward, I'll try to be a little more quiet during commentary so we can just see how everything's built and only explaining things that I feel need to be explained. Gotta say, I'm pretty proud on my first try I managed to line up those conveyor ports perfectly. And just spare me some of the belt length, I'll eventually turn that miner around to point directly towards this lift. Don't think I've shown this off yet. Once I find that stack of 100 ore, there is a little trash can in your inventory that you can just throw stuff into. Because stuff you throw on the ground will never disappear. So if you want to get rid of it, sink it or throw it in the trash can. And now we have all these going on. Conveniently, we now have 4 on each side, so 120 ingots fits perfectly on a Mark II belt. And what I'm going to want to do is bring some of these ingots up. First I was thinking of doing it with this one, but then I decided to change my mind because I also want ingots here on this floor. So instead I'm going to move these ones up one floor because the belt is like too close to the far side of the building. Like too close to where I want the assemblers to be, if that makes sense. So we'll just leave these ingots alone for now. Because up here, this is the floor I want the reinforced plates made. And I want to get those going first. Not only because they're used in modular frames, but because I need more for Mark II belts. And just to note, the colors. Yeah, you can change the color of things. At some point you'll unlock the customization feature. This is kind of how I know where to keep track of where I'm building what for the video. So right now I'm just going to go with 2 assemblers. Eventually I'll do 5. The math doesn't quite even out with supplying everything with enough iron, but I do want... I'm okay with letting the reinforced plates lag a bit. And now for these 6 constructors, 3 of them will be screws, and the other 3 will be plates, and then I'll feed them all into those assemblers. There is already an issue though at this point, because that's 150 screws. The most we can belt is 120. But again, it's fine to let them lag a bit. I'll do something to get around that restriction later. And as you could probably guess by how long the colors are, you know, how far they go, I do plan on putting more up here. Just for now, though, I want to take care of these 2. After all, we can't produce, we can't move enough items to be able to fully keep up with production. Okay, so I thought I was copying the belt, but turns out I copied the foundation. So I was trying to connect that splitter into here and thought I couldn't because it was too close. Huh, didn't catch that. And so because I didn't realize that, I'll just rebuild this belt a little further away. this is going to be a bit of a problem. The belt can't... I mean, I guess I could just clip it. But part of me doesn't want to, like, clip that egregiously. So what if I just raise it here? No, still too steep. Yeah, okay, let's just do it this way. And there we go, we got our reinforced plates being made. Can head on back down here in a second to start finishing up the rest of this factory. Oh, right. But first we need to start bringing things back down. That's also why I tilted these assemblers the way I did. Or positioned the assemblers, I should say, because I want them to come down into here to then feed into these assemblers, because modular frames will require reinforced plates. Just showing here, we need 3 of those per minute, and I do believe the assemblers produce 5 a minute, so we'll get a little bit of extra, and that's just, you know, stockpile. And warning, there's going to be a lot of spaghetti. Because, you know, I go and bring this down, then I realize, hey, that's blocking my entryway to the basement. So let's just raise this a bit. And the way I go about this, God, looking back at it, it's kind of terrible. So enjoy. So instead of merging them first and then splitting them, I opt to have them connect directly to the assemblers and then split that into a merger. But don't worry, I'll fix it a little bit later. And then on this side, I've got these conveyor walls to bring all the product out, and then eventually towards the hub building, or the building I have around the space elevator. God, I am so grateful for the changes they made to, like, being able to put a belt directly over an assembler like that. Otherwise, in the past, it would just say, encroaching the clearance, and won't let you do it. preload these with some rods just to get them producing. And while that's going on, let's start building these other assemblers, I guess. I think I'm just double checking I'm having the correct belts here. You know, not wasting my precious reinforced plates on Mark IIs for things that don't need them. Oh, interesting clipping. Oh, right. Before I start doing that, let's finish up the rest of the belts. I want to get things from here towards the space elevator. Unfortunately, a bit too far of a distance for the belts to reach. Yeah, like nowhere close. But that's okay. We have a solution for this. Let's grab a few more things from the awesome shop. These road barriers have a very interesting property to them.
Fun fact: architecture was invented when people began building buildings. If it had been invented slightly beforehand, perhaps more old buildings would still be around. Humanity sometimes lacks vision.
Indeed. So with road barriers, you can build them kind of wherever. Say right up against rock. I don't know what to call that. I can't call it a cliff, can I? But barriers are also like considered walls, so you can do things like plop a conveyor wall mount on top of them, or I guess on the side of them. And then we can just erase them after the fact, and there you go. Now it looks like these are hanging onto the rock stem there. Now that we got the belts out, maybe we're close enough to reach that building. No, not quite. Still too long. Yep, too long. Even if I have something directly to connect them to. I guess there's now going to be a walkway around the building. There we go. Not beautiful, but it works. Yeah, I've made a few slight changes here, but nothing too drastic. Now we're going to go on ahead and start working on the rest of the factory. So down here we need a whole bunch of screws and iron rods. So that's partially why I have the iron plates up one, because those only need plates. Save up on floor space. Alright, let's just, skip on ahead. You don't need to see me place down all those belts. Just checking my power. Oh, actually, I think I cut because I ran out of plates. Whoops. I'm having some hesitation here because I eventually want to put even more of the smelters here. So what I'm going to do here is raise these up a bit so when I build the additional smelters, the belts won't be in the way. Whoops. If you thought that last misclick was bad, just wait till you see what I just managed just now. Strange, why is none of the iron coming in? Yeah, I somehow managed to miss connecting the previous built belt and instead started a new one on the wall. So I go and shut off a few of these things just to get a saturation going. Little did I know, though, I apparently forgot that if a building is turned off, it won't actually accept any input. But whatever, I guess. It'll just mean that once the belt is saturated, because they can't go inside, they'll just continue pushing the ingots further down the line. Now, for these two closest to the modular frame assemblers, I want to underclock them, because I don't need the full 15 per minute. I only need 12. For some reason here, I don't know why I did this. I come back later when I realize my mistake. I underclocked one when I should have underclocked both to only produce 12 rods a minute. Yeah, don't know what I was thinking. And then these other assemblers are going to go straight into the rotors. Now this one, I didn't realize it. I mean, I'm realizing it now, but when I built it, instead of pointing it directly at the belt, I was pointing at the ground. So even though it looks like it should be working, no, that merger is built onto the ground and is just clipping into the belt. So make sure you pay attention to where you're pointing. Then I just want to make sure that I got this merger set up correctly. Perfect. Now that the rods are done, the fun part begins. Our screws. I did show off that one was underclocked to 20, I believe. Or no, wait, no. Sorry, it's the one upstairs that I underclock. These ones, thankfully... How did that get in here? Damn bird. Thankfully, these rotors each requires 100 screws per minute. And hey, the cast iron screws recipe produces 50. So all 6 of those will cleanly divide into 2 constructors per assembler. What's not great though is the way I'm doing this right now, that would be 300 screws per minute and our belt can only do 120. But I come up with a smarter solution a little bit later. My original idea was just to go, oh, it's okay, I'll just let them not run at full capacity, and when we get faster belts, I can come back. Which is why I think I'm going with Mark 1 belts here instead of Mark 2. And yeah, this is why one of the most pro-choice recipes is getting rid of screws, because things take up so much, and they take up so much space on your belts. But whatever, we have a slow and steady income of the rotors now. Now we just need to get them all merged and then brought into the warehouse. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Since I'm going to have it all floor level, I guess I'll just build this wall down here. And no, don't ask why I threw a merger on that last one. Anyways, now what I have done, instead of having the three nodes built into my warehouse, I disconnected 2 of them and belted them into here. This is how we're going to get iron for the last batch of smelters. And hey, pro tip, always make sure you pay attention to how you have the lift set. So yeah, I've done a little bit here off screen, just more smelters and more belts. I'll go into detail as this video goes on. I'll show off what I've done. So yeah, same deal as before. Bring the ore up directly into these splitters. And now that I've got these 4 here, I decide, okay, because I need a lot more ingots up top as well. So we'll go on ahead and finally put these back up 1 floor. And then just belt these additional 4 smelters, you know, to take its place. And then as you can see, I also have the other set of smelters going above this belt. And then what happens is the second belt goes above and then into this lift down into a merger here to then go further down the line. Because remember, the way that everything splits, pretty much after the first one, especially now if there's 3 connections, only, what was it, 3? Only 40 is going in per minute after that first one. And then, you know, even further reduced as it goes further down the line. But then, once it hits the end of the line, I'm having any excess, because there will be excess here, to go back up to the second floor. because this isn't the end result of my second floor. As you can tell from the painting, I plan to basically double the constructors here, as well as 3 additional assemblers. So I need a whole lot more iron up here. And then once the stuff from below goes up here, it'll come back towards this line, and then likewise will then go into a lift that feeds into a merger down here. As I'm kind of showing with my pointing here. And then likewise with the connection I made here, it'll also go above and then feed later on down the belt. But that's for later. For now, this is when I start to rejigger my screws. Each two will produce exactly how much one assembler for the rotors need. So I just need to merge 2 of each to get my 100 screws. Yep, just like this. And then I'll build a lift all the way up to the ceiling. Just need to make sure I can see if I'm doing this right. Gotta make sure these are all Mark II as well, since it's 100 per minute. Mark I only does 60. And then we'll just belt over the conveyors along the ceiling straight into their assemblers. Aw, just short. But yeah, there we go. Well, we should pretty much have 100% uptime now on these assemblers, since they're getting directly fed the screws they need. We got enough iron rods coming in. Likewise, with the modular frames, they're getting all that they need. I fixed the 2 constructors. They're now each only producing the 12 per minute that they need for the assemblers. All good. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. But now let's reconfigure how we're getting everything out of this building, because this is ugly. Instead, let's bring everything back underground. And as for how I'm going to be bringing this underground, the way I go about it was pretty bad and was kind of frustrating to watch. So I end up cutting it. So you can see the horrible plan forming in my head here. So instead, let's just cut ahead to where, pretty much at the end of this, I do go back. This is just a short clip. This is the second floor, and I'm showing off how I have the second set of ingots coming up and coming further in down the line through a merger, and then the excess ingots on the opposite end coming in and also dropping into a merger even further down the line. And then we've got we've got enough plates coming in for this, but the screws are just gonna have to wait till I get faster belts. I don't wanna mess with those. And then as to what I've done with the reinforced plates, I combine them, put them down here, and then have them split into the assemblers. Not only to the assemblers, but then split into this opening over here. Or rather, that lift hole I've got. It's missing here because this is now an earlier recording, but rest assured, I just didn't want to subject you all to that horrible... Well, I guess you can kind of still see it here. Where I just plopped down some conveyor holes, and yeah, this is painful to watch. I should have cut this out too. This is what happens when I get recording anxiety and I'm just trying to make things work. But okay, whatever. It'll get fixed later. For now, let's just get the rest of these things dropped down here. At this point, I do not care how bad the clipping gets. And we'll just get rid of these up here. And as you can see, I built some foundations just to cross on over here. Why not? And now for inside, I just put up some lifts so I can get them higher, then move the belts into those 3 containers right there. And there we go. Everything's coming in an orderly fashion. Why are there modular frames and reinforced plates on that top one? I do not know. This is when I realized, something is wrong here. But that's fine. I now got a constant income of reinforced plates, rotors, and modular frames, and all conveniently located here, right next to the elevator. And what I can then do is, whenever I need more smart plates, what I do is belt them down to those assemblers on the first floor to then constantly feed smart plates to the elevator. So yeah, why is that there? That is taking advantage of all the iron located here, with the exception of that one that had the big old boulder on it. But not bad. Not too much strain on our power either, so that's always good. Oh, and off screen I've got some more messages. Thankfully you can actually replay them by going into the inbox here, so go ahead and show some of those strange communications since they're story related.
The effigies ripples through our temples, our veins nearly touch. It is shy, notes shall be taken and played.
From a certain perspective, your brain looks like it is processing language, but there is no auditory data. If you are hearing voices that are not mine, this is no cause for concern. It is a common side effect of extreme pressure and stress.
That's why I hear voices all the time at work.
The effigy has no song, only echoes, but it is part of a river. Why does the effigy avoid the windows?
Attention. Your brain's operations are outside typical parameters. Time spent daydreaming.
That was an old message, by the way.
Milestone reached. Coal and iron can be combined in the foundry to start steel production. Project part number 2, the versatile framework, can only be created via automation, not at a crafting bench. Delivering these to the space elevator is essential if we are going to complete phase 2 of project assembly and save the day. Fix it, and humanity is relying on you.
Next up, steel. Later.